You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Bada bing. Good evening. Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I'm Rodney Rogers, partner Coach Easton Crime, Mike the Man himself, Coy.
Apologize for the slow start. Had to crank up the generators.
That's the old. That wouldn't surprise me. You got one hiding in this.
They seem to be stoked now.
Welcome. Where you're going to spend the next hour with us, at least 45 minutes of it. We're going to be talking nonsense. We've got a few topics tonight, some top news, something a little exciting. We'll be talking a little bit about the Bears again.
The Bears.
So thanks for hanging out with us. We missed last week's show, number 63, possible 64 last week. It is 64 this week.
Yeah, when you say missed it, I did. I missed it.
Yeah, I did too. I missed it as well.
But let me also say this, though, on iTunes. We got a little lag there in our, what am I saying?
Show.
We missed some. They're all there now.
They're all there.
That's what
now.
I'm trying to say now. So if you missed your iTunes, you're subscribed on whatever pod feed, podcaster, provider,
we have a dedicated listener.
They're all there now.
That watches. Alan. He posts all the time. He was missing shows.
He pointed that out, and I thank you for that. And we're good to go now.
Thank you, Alan.
So 64 will be up mañana. We're back on track, baby.
Cool beans.
Baby.
So here we are, back in business. Mike, how was your weekend?
Don't even ask me.
Well, I went fishing. We've been fishing a couple weekends. I went to St. Louis, did some fishing there. I realized that Missouri laws are a lot different than ours. And I really take Florida for granted when you go to another state. Because here, you can just pull up. I took a couple pictures from the jet as we flew off. I thought, man, that's a lot of lakes. As you flew up, all you seen was just little ponds, thousands little ponds. So
you mean?
Yeah, here, as we flew out of Orlando. So I just kind of snapped a picture. And I want to post that. And then once I got about to land in Missouri, I snapped another picture. Now they got the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. That's it. Outside of that, there's ponds there, and there's stock. I mean, it's just a whole man. It's hard to wrap your head around when you fish Florida all your life. You know, I'm sure the people up there they know the patterns. They know
it's just reversed, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, anything that I do here does not apply there. If it makes sense.
Sure.
It just doesn't apply. I mean, you can't just pull over and fish a pond and expect there to be fish because 99% chance there's not. Just aren't any fish. Or
it's not that legally you can't do it.
Right. It's not that legally you can't do it. It just
doesn't.
They just ain't there.
Not worth your time.
There's an absence of gills in that water. No scales whatsoever. So yeah, it's a whole different world. Hard to wrap your mind around. Versus here, you can fish for fun. Let's say our bass limit is 5 black bass, and we catch 5 bass, and we got them in our cooler. We want to keep them. We can keep fishing for the fun of it. We just release, catch and release. Up there, once you get your limit, you're done. You catch your 4 trout or whatever, it's over. You got to go. You can't stay here anymore. You don't got to go home, but you got to get out of here.
Wow.
So, I mean, you're done. It's over.
That really is a state-governed
thing
from state to state then.
And it kind of sparked me to look at other states and see how each state works, because now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Because there's we got Ryan, one of our buddies. He's out of Kansas, and they just don't have water. I mean, it ain't like they got a river. They just ain't got water.
Sad those Kansas people.
Yeah, them old flatlanders. Not flatliners, flatlanders. So it truly is a whole different world. And I really, got a sense of, man, how lucky we really are here.
And even the species, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even the species, like here, I'll give you an example. When you pull up to, we were in Bush Wildlife, which is August Bush, which is the owner at one time, the founder of St. Anheuser-Busch.
Okay.
Well, he passed away, and his wife bought, several thousands of acres for conservation. So they got like 35, 36 ponds on it, and they're all stocked, and they're all different sizes, and they got this and fish in here, and these fish are over here. They got trout, they've got brown trout, they got rainbow trout, they've got speckled perch. Now, speck down here is a very prized fish. Speck up there is a nuisance. They don't want them, so they'll catch them and just flick them out on the bank. Where down here is like,
really,
it's like bass fishing. It's as prized as bass fishing. And up there, it's like, man, get these things out of here. You're not even allowed to put them back in the water.
Really?
If you catch one, you got to take it. They don't want you to put it back. In my mind, it's just hard to wrap around that.
Now, bass, they have smallmouth bass up there?
They do in certain parts of it. Mike, you want to hold this? And I got to take this call. Can you talk for a second?
Yeah.
That's just odd. This is my daughter.
Oh.
Yeah. Already? Can you turn my mic off?
Oh, yeah. I'll just listen in. We'll step out because they can hear you. So anyways, let's go to commercial.
With 116,000 foreclosures in the state of Florida alone as of January 2014, a quality contractor is critical to the process of returning a foreclosed house back into a home. Let me introduce you to Phillips Contracting Incorporated. They are Florida State certified and an approved REO repair vendor for both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. PCI currently provides multi-level services to realtors, banks, asset managers, and private homeowners. Although they specialize in dealing with REO property repairs, they are a design-build company.
Here at PCI, we pride ourselves on professional, high-quality work. Our clients know that we're not your typical contractor. We're proud to be reliable, trustworthy partners with you. Our repair coordinators are ready to communicate with you honestly and quickly about every aspect of your project. We're here to say yes to our clients.
Phillips Contracting services Florida from Orlando to Miami. Whether you're looking for a quote, repair updates, or just want to talk business, give them a call at 941-483-3800.
And we're back. Here we go. Sorry about that.
Phillips Contracting saves the day.
Contracting saves the day. Great people, those guys. We're going to get him on the show, by the way. He's a big fisherman.
Really?
Big offshore guy. He's in Australia fishing right now. So I told him when he gets back, call it. We'll do an interview with him and see how it went. So
that'd be cool.
It'd be awesome. So I was talking about Missouri and the whole different world out there. It's literally, like I said, we really take Florida for granted, the amount of fishing opportunities that we have. And some will look at our laws and go, man, you guys are strict. While I look at other laws and go, holy moly. If you just enjoy fishing, they have a certain time that you can catch and release.
Time of the day or season?
Time of the season. There's like a catch and release season. Okay. So you can only catch and release during this time. Now, obviously, if you don't want your fish, you can release it, but they don't encourage, just going out and catching and releasing, unless you're speck fishing. But if you're speck fishing, you get a byproduct of a trout or something. So, it's just, they put trout here, they don't put them here, so they're not in this pond, they're in this pond. So it's trout. Lakes 3 and 5 have trout, and lakes 2 and 7 have rainbows, and 3 and 7.
Was it a state? Was the Bush Park? Is it a state park?
Yeah,
or just state conservation
managed
area or both?
Yeah, state managed now. It was given to the state by the wife of August Bush, so it's now managed by the state. So it's very, to keep a trout, you got to have a trout tag. I did get my fishing license, which didn't allow me to keep trout. It just allowed me to fish for trout. If I caught a trout, and it didn't. It's
wow.
I can understand someone coming to Florida trying to wrap their head around.
But you know what? I guess that's where guides come in.
It is, and I'll tell you, they're very hard to find. In areas of that. If you come to Florida and you want to target a fish and you want to be successful on that first shot, I suggest hiring a guide, because by the time you buy your gear, you
it's true.
It's really worth the money, and don't hesitate to email us. I'll guarantee you we can hook you up with a great guide just about anywhere in Florida.
That's a really good point, because save yourself the hassle.
Absolutely. You got to put a dollar
and
amount.
potentially literally wasted money.
Absolutely.
And go enjoy the fish and let somebody else do all the thinking and figuring out.
That's what they do.
Because otherwise, you're spending your whole trip just figuring it out.
And
That's
spinning your
not the
wheels.
fun
Yeah.
part.
And the frustration, like I said, it's got to have a dollar amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would.
Has to.
I mean, you've gotten this far. You might as well utilize and.
Oh, if you're visiting too, I mean, just the time alone, you don't have the time to waste.
Exactly. You need to get on it. And be successful.
Cool.
It makes for a great trip. So it was definitely different.
Good.
Not a lot to do up there. Really, not a lot to do. A lot of sleeping. I slept a lot.
Oh, that's nice.
I did. So that was a good thing. I mean, I probably sat in a hotel and probably slept more than anything, just rested. Because
you needed that though, boy.
yeah, man, did I ever.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'd get in a room and just fall, and
Yeah.
it was pass out time. So I watched enough TV to squint my eyes and pass out.
So let's talk about the picture you posted. I saw some more mahi on Facebook.
So we went fishing again Saturday. I went out on Paul's boat, our friend Paul, that you and I went on the week before. And so on my way there, I noticed a full moon. Now, for those of you that fish or don't fish, I'm going to give you a little insight here. Fish feed on a full moon at night, more so than they would on a non-full moon because they can actually see. And when you have the clear oceans, it makes for a great feeding time for offshore fish and inshore fish as well. But it really affects the offshore fishing. So I was kind of worried, man. It's probably going to be a long day. You got that face on.
No. Sorry. It was my producer tech face.
I got you. I see it like, light flashing, blinky light. What's that mean? So we went out. We trolled literally all day without even a knockdown, a bite. The water was perfect. Everything, all the conditions were right.
Oh, I went online and looked when I saw you're out and looked at the weather. It was
Oh man,
it was like 1 to 2. And,
oh my gosh, it even flattened flatter than that.
Wow.
I mean, toward the end of the day, it literally became Lake Atlantic.
Wow.
I mean, it was just
nice.
not even a ripple. It was just so it was crystal clear water. We hooked on a sailfish, and I got it hooked up. Tried to hand it off, and it just came unbuttoned. It's just one of those things.
Now, did you see it jump?
Oh yeah,
you knew it was a sailfish.
Oh yeah, we saw it come up. Well, first it was weird because, and I had never seen this, and I've seen the bills, the sailfish bills go in the water and chase our baits, but I saw the sail like 10 minutes before, just this huge sail sticking out of the water, and I looked at it, and it was this iridescent greens and blues, and it was probably one of the coolest things I ever saw.
Okay, yeah.
So I told our buddy Steve that we fished with, Steve, look, a sail. And by then the fish had put a sail down. And he looked at me like I was a weirdo. So those things happen fast. So don't take your eyes off of them. Just enjoy that moment, I think is my point. So wasn't a few minutes later, sure enough, he came in and just literally engulfed one of the baits. Now, the thing about a sail is you got to let them have a little more line because they'll grab the bait, but not eat it right away. They'll just kind of swash it with their bill and then take it down and hope that it falls.
Yeah.
So I let it fall back, and then he bit it, but I didn't quite let him have it long enough, and he didn't quite take it. So as I was trying to hand the rod off to one of the girls on the boat, Jason's girlfriend, Stephanie, it just unbuttoned, So fought it for a few seconds, came unbuttoned. I dropped it back. We picked it up again. This time I wanted to make sure it was really hooked in, and when I thought it was, I tried to hand it off again, and we'd lost it for sure.
That's too bad.
And then just a few minutes later, we had a big marlin come in. I mean, it did the same thing. Came in with his bill. His sickles were sticking out. He was chasing our bait. So, I mean, it was just potentially.
Now, was that towards the end of the day?
That was toward the end of the day.
Really?
This was literally 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right as we're about to wrap up.
Wow.
And then we had that mahi, 15-pound mahi just come in and just trash it. So I got it hooked up real good and handed it off, and we were successful on that one. So we actually got that one on GoPro. I'm trying to get that footage for
did you? Good.
Yeah, we had a GoPro like tied to the tower, just right on the cockpit there, and hopefully we got some good footage here. So he's going to take a look, see what we got. So Justin, congrats on your first,
that's a good picture.
your largest mahi. So yeah, that was actually a good fish. once I saw it coming in, I was like, man, that's a little bigger than what we had last time. We captured the colors pretty good on this. If I wouldn't have took the effects, I put this little effect thing on it. I think we took some color out of it.
It's all right. It's a good looking fish.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was it, man. That was the one mahi knocked down, and we got him in.
Wow.
So we actually went back, filleted him.
Did you?
Had crab legs on the boat. And, I mean,
that was kind of my biggest regret of that week is not hanging out.
Yeah, on a Sunday night it's tough because you got to work the next day. This was the Saturday, so it
does make a difference.
Yeah, I hung out with them. I wasn't, just all this work. I just wasn't feeling 100% up to par. I actually stayed on the boat with them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. It was just driving home was not an option. I was exhausted. I'd worked the night before, went straight from work, got on the boat, fished all day. So it has a tendency to.
I got chewed up by those no-see-ums.
Oh yeah, they were there as well.
Were they?
Yeah.
I mean, like 3 days in, 4 days, I was still scratching.
Yeah,
those
things
me up.
Slaying.
Does insect repellent take care of those? It does.
Yes.
So standard mosquito prevention.
Standard. Yeah,
I'm gonna remember that next time because that was.
Yeah, definitely. If you're at the beach this time of year, don't go without.
Oh, they're nasty. It's worse than mosquitoes.
They are.
I think they bite worse too, or something.
They feel like it.
And
the thing is that mosquitoes, you might get 2 or 3 bites, but these things are just nonstop.
Yeah.
They're relentless.
Yeah,
absolutely. So,
no-see-um, no good.
No good. No lucky.
So what else you got, Rodney?
So, man, that was I've had an eventful couple weeks. In between work, I've done nothing but fish.
I mean, we at least see each other once a week, and when we don't see each other for that week, I mean,
a lot has happened.
Yeah, I missed you. I cried a lot.
I did too, Mike.
I'm glad you're back.
Actually, I hadn't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I know.
We went fishing, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hadn't seen you since we went fishing.
You
just disappeared.
And then just hopscotched.
If it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know you're alive.
Amen.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I haven't even been posting on that as much as that. I mean, it's just work. It's just
Hey, it's good.
It's good. As long as we got
Life
a job.
is
Isn't that right, Mike?
Life is good.
If it wasn't working,
you want to
talk and play.
Yeah. That's true. You want to talk Bears? You don't really, do you?
No, let's talk Bears. You know, Mike, it's been a big topic here lately. For those of you who don't know, we're about to get a hunting management. They've introduced, and I think it's going to pass.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago here, and you mentioned it, and for you, it's kind of a big deal, and I wasn't really sure all the hubbub. And then it started hitting the press even more so. I was like, wow, this really is.
Yeah, I think you and I probably picked up on it pretty quick.
We probably caused it.
Yes, we did. We caused the uproar. And I was going to be on the radio. I was trying to get on the radio the other day with Real Radio, Russ Rollins at 104.1 when they were talking about it. But I was like busy and trying to call in and I know they were wanting me to.
But people are starting to protest.
So, yeah, it's going to be a big deal. I even committed myself. No, I even commented. That's what I'm trying to say on the West News site when they posted.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
So I posted. Look, I've hunted for 35 years. I've hunted since I was, 12 years old.
Sure.
And in the bear program, here it says that the only species of bear found in Florida is the black bear. The state's largest land mammal has come back from just several hundred bears in the 1970s to more than 3,000 today. Now, look at the size of Florida. Imagine 3,000 people in the state of Florida. I mean, we got several million people. 3,000 bears is not a lot of bears, and I think they're padding this number ridiculously. Now, they don't mention in here that just several hundred bears in the 70s was from a failed management program from the 60s and early 70s. They stopped hunting in 1971. So it was a failed management program, just like they're doing right now, because they thought there was a lot of bears. When there's bears in small concentrations of areas, because these things cannot live. People assume if they see a set of woods, animals live there, wooded animals. They gopher turtles that looks like a sea turtle, so they let them go in the ocean. A big FWC came out because gopher turtles, tortoises and, loggerheads and all the beach tortoise nest kind of in the same area.
Yeah.
And then when baby tortoise hatch, some people just walk down. They look the same to the unknowing eye.
Sure.
And they assume that that's their habitat. And it's the same way with bears. We see woods, we assume that that's bear habitat. And that's not. I mean, there's a very small area that these bears can live, and that's where these things are at. So we have a few in the Everglades. We have a few in Ocala National Forest, the Wekiva, where we build all these homes. In my heart of hearts, I just feel that we're not ready. And here's the problem. Here's what I see. We're going to crank up this bear program, and we cannot just shut it off. You know what I mean? It's going to turn into people poaching. The poaching problem is going to be really big for bears, because now you can have a bear and it's not illegal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We do have a poaching problem with deer, but we have millions of deer in our population versus 3,000.
Now, has there been any conversation publicly about this having anything to do with the nuisance of bears, rather than just an overpopulation of bears?
That's the thing. That's where all of this stemmed from, is the fact that, in the last 2 years, we've had some bear attacks on humans.
Yeah.
We've had some bear attacks on dogs and stuff like that. And that's going to happen. You live in that bear habitat. Call the people in Alaska and ask them how they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know, and they prepare, and they are set up for these events. Bear-proof garbage cans, bear-proof this, bear-proof that, bear-proof houses. They're in their habitat, so they're going to come across these bears. It's no different here. We think because we build a neighborhood that we're exempt from wildlife, and that's not the case.
Right.
I see this as a bad deal. I really do. And I even said on the website that I'm not an activist by any means. I'm a conservationist, and I just don't think we're ready. I'm not saying let's not look at this in another 5 or 6 years or even 10 years. I'm just saying now's not the time. Just by and I'm not a biologist. I'm a hunter. I'm a guy who applies this to the field. I've hunted all my life in the state of Florida. I've not seen one bear, Mike. One bear.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact. I drove down the highway through Ocala National Forest 3 or 4 or 5 years ago and saw one bear. That's all I've seen in the state of Florida. And I've hunted in these bear habitats for weeks and years at a time, and I've never seen one bear. So what you're telling me is this place is so infested, I should see a bear. If it's this out of control, I'm a hunter in a tree, I should see a bear. And this is not the case. It's just absolutely boggles me. And in the areas where these bears are, and they are a nuisance, we can't hunt them anyway. There's no hunting. It doesn't solve that problem. The very problem we're trying to solve.
Should be allowed to bear hunt only within city limits.
Exactly. That's where they're at. You should be able to put your tree stand in your front yard.
Problem solved.
So I understand. We have a gentleman that listens to our show, and once this passes, and it will, just like I may not agree with it, but we'll still have the info, and we'll still provide all the information. We'll tell you where to get your bear tags, what you need to do, how to do it legally, and that's not going to change. It's not like I don't hunt bears.
Right.
I'll never talk about bears.
I'm not going to boycott the FWC.
No, I'm not. No, I'm in agreement with 99% of the stuff they do. This is just one thing that I don't agree with.
Now, what about back up north? I suppose up towards Tallahassee, the Panhandle, because there's a lot of, I think, as you get to Ocala National Park and then on up through the Panhandle, that's probably where it's got to be the North Florida more than South, right?
Yeah, it is. And I pulled up our bear, the last time we talked about this, I pulled up there's basically 6 areas in the state of Florida that these bear habitats are. Now we're talking millions of acres, and I'm talking hundreds of thousands of acres of wildlife management areas, and only a few wildlife. Ocala National Forest, being a wildlife management area, is one of the few that actually have bears that you can hunt on. So it's going to be interesting. You'll be able to hunt them all over the state of Florida, but it's like fishing out in the ocean. There are parts where there are no fish. And it's the same way with Florida. Just because there's woods doesn't mean
that's a good point.
bears.
Yeah, good point.
So although you may have a bear tag, in, let's say, Polk County, and you've got several management areas down there, you don't have bears.
Yeah.
Now, you did in the 50s and 60s. There's still bear sign down there on the creeks that we used to fish down. There's still bear sign there, but there are no bears. There's zero. There's none. There's not even a sign. There's not the signs that are there are 30 years old.
Yeah, I just don't want to be reactionary to
I agree.
nuisance bears.
And I think that's what we're being right now. We're trying to, they're kind of caught in between, and for those of you that say, well, it's all about the money. It's not. There is not going to be this revenue that these bears are going to generate aren't going to be enough revenue to make a difference in the Florida. It's not going to put a penny in their pocket, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're going to spend more money trying to set this up than they're going to pull from. They'll have to pull revenue from this thing for 15 years to make up for what they're spending to get this set up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a revenue thing. So, don't think it is. It's not a revenue because the bear tags are very inexpensive. Even for out of state, I think it's a little over $100. If you get a bear tag in Colorado, it's $350. You get a bear tag in Alaska, it's $1,000. So, we're nowhere near. If anything, people would be more prone to come to Florida to hunt bear because of the expense. It's a lot cheaper.
Sure. Yeah.
They'll get a bear guide, and there's going to be a lot of rules to this. You won't be able to hunt with dogs. It's going to be a lot of, and of course we'll keep updated, and I'll be more than happy to pass on the information. I want everybody to be informed and not go out half cocked and arbitrarily just kill a bear because it's there.
Did you see that photo of me hanging off the overpass with my sign?
Was that you?
Yeah.
We don't want no bears killed. Free the bears, FWC. I don't doubt that they've put a lot of research into this. I just think we got more to go. They're just not showing me. I've looked, and I've read. Maybe I'm missing some stuff. Maybe I'm not reading something that would point me in the right direction. 3,000 bears is nothing. 3,000. You show me. You got the maps up here. What are we looking at here? Primary range. Look at that. How many areas we got? 1, 2, 3.
I see 4 main ones.
Maybe
maybe 3 main ones.
Yeah, and the one in the middle is obviously Ocala.
Yeah. Tallahassee, Appalachia, up and then
Apalachicola, and so, and then down in the Everglades.
Yeah.
Now that range used to be all through the Everglades. From the very, from the Keys up, just above the Keys.
Well, our state doesn't lend itself to bears migrating very well.
No,
they're limited.
Yeah.
Because of the swamps and
right, and
like I say, they're very isolated. The habitats are very isolated.
Well, if you look now, most of the Everglades are sugarcane.
Yeah.
So there's no bear habitat there. What was there is now gone. They're trying to restore it, but that's 80 more years before we could ever get any kind of habitat there. So, we've narrowed them down to this.
Yeah.
So if you pull a bear tag, first of all, you're going to say, okay, well, I got to go find a bear. And the odds of finding 3,000 bear in those areas right there, what do you think your chances of finding a bear is? You go in the neighborhood and Wakaiba, poof, you got a bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, you do not.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be they're going to issue, let's just say they want 100 bears taken out this season. 100 bears. They'll issue 300-400 tags.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So potentially we want 100 gone. Let's say everybody got lucky. We just took 3 times what we, because they plan on a certain percentage of being unsuccessful. So they issue a little more tags. If they want 1 bear gone, they don't just issue 1 tag.
Right, yeah. It doesn't
so
that way.
It's a slippery slope, and I don't agree with it right now. I'm not saying I don't agree with it ever. I just think right now is not the time. I just don't think we're ready with 3,000 bears. You tell me we had 10,000 bears, right on. I'm in. I don't even know what the bear count is in Alaska. I'd like to look that up, and and it's just very, very managed. It's just very. These things are so fragile still. It's taken us now. Look, from the 70s, 40 years later.
Yeah, to repopulate.
We got 3,000 bears in
Yeah.
40 years. Jesus I mean, that alone tells you it takes us 40. How many did we have in the 70s? 1,000?
There's some interesting numbers.
Is that it right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna need some
Oh yeah.
spectacles here.
Ocala is about 730 to 1,056 bears in that area.
Now, did you see how they get those numbers?
Well, you told me roadkill.
Yeah, they base
Which
mainly
actually makes no sense
on their
to me.
roadkill, and then they, if they see bears and they count them, and then they estimate there's this many bears in this area, and we've got 10 areas like that.
St. John's area between 96 and 170 bears.
And what's that? Way up in that's the
Osceola,
Osceola
200 to 313.
200, 313.
And the Everglades is 516 to 878.
Now you see that
Range.
Chastawitcha right there?
Yeah, it's a very strange.
I've hunted Chastawitcha, and
It's
it
that
is
Tampa area, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's Tampa, Hillsboro.
Okay.
I've hunted Chastawitcha for
Well, there's 20 over there.
yeah, and they call this big bear habitat. I mean, it's just like it's several miles long. You can see it's not very wide,
Yeah, that's pretty
but it's
limited.
probably 30, 40, 50 miles long.
Now, do those counts include cubs and all sizes? How do they?
That's a good question. If they see the bears and they count them, yes, they're obviously they're
I mean,
counting.
potentially of those 20.
Yeah, of 20 bears.
Yeah.
Come on,
That's
man.
nothing. Yeah.
How many tags are they going to issue for those 20 bears?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many
but
hunters?
of those 20, how many do you want to kill?
How many hunters are going to shoot a bear and say, "Hey, dude, you get a bear tag? I just shot a bear."
Yeah.
I've hunted there
Yeah.
many times for many years. Beautiful area, but never seen a bear. Cala National Forest, same way since I was 14 years old, all over Cala National Forest. Saw a bear finally when I'm 40.
Yeah.
I just it hurts my head. The big cypress down there. Now that was a big bear hunt area. Look, they got the highest count, or no, the second highest, right?
Ocala has the highest.
Yeah, Ocala has the highest, and then the big cypress used to be
Okay.
Ocala's numbers
Gotcha.
in the 70s. I knew guys that hunted bear in the 70s, and it was bears were just there was a lot of bears in the 70s or 60s, should I say, because they stopped hunting in the 70s, and then it became a little bit of a problem in the 70s because they quit hunting and they would tear their feeders up. And they go, "Them bears tore my feeders up." Well, it's a feeder.
Yeah.
You're in the wild. What do you think's gonna happen?
They're there for a reason.
They're there for a
And
reason.
Food is primarily that reason.
This is what they do. So I'm sure this is going to be a bigger thing. So stay tuned. We may be. I mean, if I can get myself on the news, I'm going to educate myself a little more before I go firing off on national television or or the monsters. I need some more facts to pile up. I've really been watching this, so I want my voice heard.
Good.
I've hunted. I'm a hunter.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it should be heard. So, if you're looking at me now going, "Hey, Rodney, I don't think you are a hunter," that's not it.
Yeah.
I would do the same if it was. You want to open up a season, Mike? I better not fire this off. Come on, do it. Open up a manatee season. Them things are everywhere. There's 10 times more manatees there ever was. So, if they were as aggressive as bears, we'd have swimmers eating all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you got. Where do you draw that line? It's. I did it, didn't I?
You did it.
I'm out there. It's out there in the world. So I mean, one of them things.
Well, for not having much to say about bears, you should have a lot to
Joey
say.
got a lot to say.
Speaking of something to say, let's let the gnarly barley have a few words, and
Let's
then
do it.
we'll come right back.
Gnarly barley, come see why the whole world's singing. Gnarly,
What are you doing?
dude, I am writing a song for Gnarly barley.
I see that, but first of all, I didn't realize you could sing. Second of all, why don't you just tell the people how great the gnarly barley is, give them the address, and move on with the show?
Have you ever had their flatbread? Their jalapeno flatbread with the cream cheese on top, and the chicken, and the special sauce on it. Holy moly! No, wait a minute. Obviously, by the look on your face, you ain't never had that big time Fiesta. Jalapenos, provolone cheese, tomatoes, red onions, and again, Fiesta lime.
Okay,
Right?
that's it. Shut up, Trevor. We're out of here.
Are you serious?
Come on, we're out of here.
Truly one of Orlando's hidden gems, the Gnarly Barley offers a contemporary selection of bites and brews, serving a mind-blowing selection of craft beers and original mouth-watering menu creations. The Gnarly Barley and its incredibly accommodating staff have created a place that really is difficult to put into words. So do yourself a huge favor and come see why people are singing the praises of the Gnarly Barley.
Oh my goodness.
I told you that big time fiesta.
That is phenomenal. I totally get why you're trying to write a song for that.
Not as simple as you thought, huh?
No. Okay, check this out. Gnarly barley. Come see why the whole town's singing gnarly barley. Buy some brews.
Located at 7431 South Orange Avenue in Orlando, Florida.
We are back live every Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST.
Esther's.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're here every Tuesday. We'll be doing this hopefully every Tuesday until we're.
Give them that number.
You can give us. I forgot. We can take live calls. 262-345-7763 or 262-345-RROD. RROD. Rodney Rogers Outdoors.
That's us.
So if you can't spell 7763, all you can do is spell. If you're like a word savant, it's RROD.
Still the same.
Still the same. You can get us both ways. So, okay. So now we're back. We're off our bear rant. Like I said, I'm going to do some research on that and really try to get some fire on it. Mike, I wanted to point something out real quick, and then I got to really what I got to talk about is pretty quick. Our topics, as if we had a topic. Did you see that DEA agents said that marijuana cultivation could lead to stoned rabbits, unafraid of humans? There are states that are passing, like Utah, they're passing the marijuana law, and these rabbits are eating the marijuana plants, and they're like, look at people like, hey, dude's got a gun. They're shooting rabbits like super easy.
That explains all the broken eggs on Easter egg.
Ta-da! Where do we get that? So I just thought that was funny as heck. You know, I was reading that, and they're like, they don't want to legalize it because then they plant marijuana crops, and the rabbits will.
Wow.
Is that reaching?
Wow.
Are they reaching, Mike? How come that rabbit ain't moving? Whoa. Are you a hunter, dude?
They no longer hop.
Yeah. They're just strolling, sliding. Remember the old keep on trucking sign?
Oh, yeah. The big old feet. Yeah.
Big old, that's the rabbits. So, man, honestly, I want to get on some just this little top news. Did you see this right here, man? Guy goes fishing on January the 29th. And he gets in a storm. He gets in a storm. He's in a sailboat. He capsizes the boat, breaks his mast off. He drifts 200 miles away from the North Carolina coast over there, and he lives for 66 days with nothing but the little bit of food he had and fish that he caught. Now, he lost all his fishing gear, so I'm not really sure. I read this whole thing, and it says that he used dirty clothes to catch fish. Jordan ate raw fish he caught by dipping dirty clothes into the water. I don't understand, is that a method of cooking or is that a method of catching? It said he lost all his fishing gear. So but the skeptics say, man, this guy looks really good to be at sea for 66 days, eating nothing but fish and not having a whole lot of water. And so I just thought it was kind of weird. It just goes to show you, I know you and I did our we can get it, our survival thing. We can get into trouble quickly without knowing, and this is a prime case.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you're on a 37, 34-foot boat, 40-foot boat doesn't mean you're safe as a bug in a rug. You could hit a bad storm, and then poof.
So what was the outcome of that? Because it said it smelled fishy.
The Coast Guard saying, look, man, we flew the guy in off a boat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, what do you want him to? What do you want to say? It was on a boat. That's the best we could do. A German ship, German freighter saw this guy stranded out there, picked him up, and called the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard went and picked him up off the ship. So he did look a little rough, but he broke his shoulder. his right shoulder, which you can see in the picture that he has his book bag on his right shoulder. So they're saying, he goes, well, you know, I was out there 66 days. I don't know what a shoulder takes to heal. I guess I got a feeling if this is a fishy story, I mean, it'll sort itself out, you know, no doubt.
Interesting. It's an awful long way to go for
for
attention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I mean, the guy says, look, you know, I don't care if you believe me or not. Almost died. I lived. I didn't ask for this story. You know, my friends and family know that, you know, I'm interesting. You know, I'm not that guy to do that. So the Coast Guard saying, look, we have no reason to believe, because, you know, the guy was in bad shape when we found him. He took care of himself. He got rainwater from a lifeboat he had. He kept it on his deck. Okay. And, you know, as it rained a little bit that he did, you know, he used that water to sustain himself. He had canned food and he caught fish. So he said he rationed it out to where he'd have a pint of water a day. You know, all he could do was drift. It ain't like he can paddle this 40-foot sailboat. The mast is broke, so he can't sail. So, you know, said he did what he had to do, basically sit in the cabin and survive.
Wow.
So I'm intrigued.
So it wasn't capsized. It was still upright?
He did capsize, and then the boat uprighted itself back in the storm.
Okay.
So it capsized in the storm, and as the waves hit him again, it righted it and stayed right.
Interesting.
Where, you know, apparently he lost a lot of stuff when it capsized, no doubt.
Yeah, much like in a kayak, I suppose.
Yeah. We've been there.
Maybe not, yeah. Maybe a little different.
I got a message from Black Dog Baits. I mean, they are awesome. Holly, one of the owners, messaged me and says, you know, Rodney, we are so sorry. We didn't know you were that inexperienced. Basically, you big dummy. We didn't know you were a bunch of big dummies.
We can't write kayaks to you anymore.
Yeah, you can't come by here anymore. But no, she says, look, you know, we'll do whatever we can to help you replace your stuff, and you know, we'll see if we can get discounts on GoPros. And they were awesome. And I said, look, sweetie, you know, we knew this, we expected this. It happens to everybody, even the best of the best. I said, thank you so much for, you know, for even offering.
Yeah, very kind of them to even acknowledge it like that.
Yeah, I thought it was just absolute. It just goes to show you how awesome they are.
Very awesome. We take full responsibility of our idiocracy.
And I told her in there, I said, you know what? I said, Mike and I are just, man, what a story. Yeah. You know, we got a heck of a story out of this. It's
very sweet. Actually, I'm a big YouTube fan, and I launched YouTube when I'm on the treadmill. I usually watch YouTube. And the top, you know, in the news feed, the top one said, was a guy holding a GoPro, and it said, found a GoPro in the ocean.
Stop.
Yeah, it was his own. He had lost it, and then he found it.
Oh, okay.
So it was just I thought that's ironic.
You know what? I just see that being one of them being found.
Could happen.
I was talking to a guy today that was, they had a boat capsize on their dive tanks. The boat capsized. They were diving, and they lost all their dive gear. So 7 years later, he gets a call from a dive shop. Says, hey, dude, you know, some guy found your dive tank, turned it into a dive shop. He didn't know it was yours. He says, we got the numbers on it. It's your tank. Dude says, I lost that 7 years ago.
Wow.
So
it could happen.
It could happen.
I think every time you roll tape, you need to start off when you're on camera going, hi, I'm Rodney Rogers. From Rodney Rogers Outdoors. If this is in your hands, something's went terribly wrong.
If I don't know you and you don't know me, yeah, you something has gone really wrong.
Marty.
So I thought that was some interesting stuff right there. How was that, Mike? So basically, Mike, I was just basically going to touch on, we're in spring. Here we are in spring this time of year. What can, you know, I was going to basically real quick tell everybody kind of what the cool things to do at the beginning of spring. Really awesome thing. I'm going to post a few spring pictures that I've taken. So basically, I mean, grab your camera, even if it's your iPhone, but a lot of people buy those big DSLR digital bad camera. You know, you got all this stuff. They use their iPhones anyway. They got $8,000 worth of camera equipment. Snap all pictures with their iPhones. Grab your cameras, especially if you're here in Florida. There's a couple cool photo opportunities. Gatorland will let photographers in.
I saw that.
If I had a DSLR, I want one bad. I really do.
Telephoto,
They'll let you in at 7 o'clock in the morning as the sun rises, and you can get wildlife pictures.
That's cool.
I mean, they have tons of beautiful nesting snow egrets, white egrets. I mean, there's just tons of egrets and herons and alligator. I mean, just so their photo opportunities.
Yeah,
are
and they
amazing.
said the birds are nesting there because they're they kind of feel protected.
Exactly.
They're kind of in a refuge area because the alligators are acting as guards from some of their predators, like raccoons and some of
That's
these
exactly
things.
right. That's exactly right. Now, them birds can't fall out. They got when they learn to fly,
stay
they better
there.
get it right on the first shot.
For sure, yes.
She's like, baby, don't
trial
even
and
hit the
error.
ground. Just let the wings go and just woo. I'm sure some babies get eaten, but I mean, yeah, there's tons of nesting. I go out there. I've been out there a few times in the spring. I wanted to go last year to do pictures with my iPhone, but I didn't. So I mean, it's like Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, I believe, or Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. You can get in at 7 a.m.
It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, if you have a camera and you don't have that opportunity to go out in the swamps or you're a little afraid, this is a perfectly safe environment.
Sure.
And you might as well be in the swamps. Tons of fantastic photo opportunities.
Yeah.
That would be your first shot. I don't even know if there's a charge. I think there might be. I'm sure there is, but it's very minimal.
I saw a clip on the news, and they said something. They actually have like a photo club. I'm sure it's minimal.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. But
Right.
It's a great.
Remember last year I looked it up, and it was like $20 or something. I mean, you can't get a boat and go anywhere for
That'd be
$20.
cool.
I mean, you really can't. So
And you can snap pictures of gators while you're there too.
right, definitely get some pictures of gators. It's springtime. They're coming in the mating season, nesting season. I mean, they're mating season right now, so you'll get to see some drum. That'd be an awesome picture to get. I'd love to have that picture. So, I mean, that's a cool thing to do. So there's a springtime thing to do, and obviously, spring cleaning. You don't want to do that. If you're up north, I was doing some research. You got morel mushrooms. That's coming in. Morel mushrooms are like little. When I was a kid,
Up there or down here?
up there.
Okay.
We don't have them down here. When I was a kid, there was these little morel mushrooms. They're like real long, big, fat, delicious. I remember my aunt. We'd go on in the woods. My aunt lived in Ohio, so we would go up in the woods and find these mushrooms, and my aunt would slice them and fry them. And oh my God,
Really?
Mike, it was the best.
Morel, M-O-R-E-L.
Morel, yeah.
There's an L and probably
Yeah.
an R or something.
So there's
some letters.
I tried to find some where when I was in Missouri, it's like very, 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 very baby stages of morel mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
they're like you snort them. You snorted a mushroom. So they're just not really ready yet. But as it warms up, they start growing. They're wet areas. So I mean, you can obviously the people who live up there know that they can do that. In Florida, now's the time to plant your flowers and herbs. I just started an herb garden. I didn't tell you this, and I want to tell you on the radio. I just bought a bunch of tomatoes. I just made my first real Italiano tomato salsa, fresh with tomatoes.
Wow.
And Mike, I'm going to tell you what. I hit the jackpot.
Really?
It was a lot of work, but I'm going to tell you what. It was a blast.
That's funny.
Absolutely a blast. I've never had more fun making this. It was I bought went to Williams Sonoma and bought a
Movie camera? Crank?
two chillables. It's called a separator. Basically,
yeah,
separates the peel from.
Okay.
So once you put you cook your tomatoes in a little bit, you put them in this separator and you turn it. You see the solids that come right out of the bottom of the tomato thing.
You taste the difference, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, of course, I tasted a little bit as it came out, and it tastes like tomatoes. So then you got to cook for hours. You're basically letting this cook. You put your fresh basil. I bought my basil plants, my rosemary plants. I bought all fresh plants to grow so I could pick these all fresh.
Oh, sure. Oh, my goodness.
And I put it all in there, and I just fell asleep with this thing on simmer. And when I woke up, it smelled like, oh, my gosh. So I went in there and stirred my sauce, tasted it, and
there's no replacement for home cooking the way it makes the house smell.
I've been wanting to do fresh tomato sauce all my life.
Wow. I
finally did my first. And I mean, I'd use 5 pounds of tomatoes to make that much tomato sauce. Them Italians are no joke.
That's hilarious.
So, I mean, I got probably a jar of tomato sauce out of 5 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm going to go this weekend to a farmer's market and find me, a big 30, 40 pound box.
Wow.
And really make some fresh tomato salsa.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I just thought it was really cool.
Makes me hungry just talking about it.
So plant your herbs. I mean, it's spring. Where are we at? How are we doing on time? We're in trouble. So anyway, look at your things to do. It's springtime. Check it out. I mean, I'm going to post some stuff tonight while I ain't got nothing to do when I'm at work, and just say, look here. I've got a list of just stuff that is just absolutely awesome spring stuff that I know I like doing in the spring. Getting ready for it. So
love it.
Yeah, pretty cool. Well, anyway. There you have it, Mike Coy.
I woke up Easter morning, watched the sunrise out front, sat outside with a cup of coffee.
Right on.
It was very cool. It was, squirrels were playing. I mean, it's just your typical, it was perfect.
Beautiful.
Clouds rolled away, the sun came up, and then I saw 6. I counted 6 robins.
No way.
Three pairs.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I usually, usually can find a pair.
Right.
And then, but in the trees, like went across the street, and ours right in our front yard, and my next door neighbor, and us in the driveway, and 3 pair, male, female. Then shortly after that, 2 red-headed woodpeckers come up.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, it's
what's next? What? I'm like, snake kind of coming? No, snakes don't work with Easter. That doesn't work.
Was you building an ark, Mike?
I know, it's crazy. I know it's definitely a Noah thing, the 2 of them. But I thought it was a nice Easter morning to sit and watch the sun come up and see signs of spring just all around.
Easter morning, I was actually on Paul's boat. So, he woke up at like 6:37 and said, hey, you want some coffee? And I was looking out the blinds. I said, as a matter of fact, I do. I didn't know anybody was awake. And when you walk around on the boat, pretty much you wake everybody up.
Yeah. That's fun.
So him and I were talking. We watched the sunrise right there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's actually awesome. It's just, it was just definitely springtime. Enjoy your spring. Get motivated. If you want to get your kids involved, if they've got outdoor toys, take them outside.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's wash your toys. I mean, how awesome is that? It's been hemmed up all winter. They haven't, especially if you're a little north Florida, you don't really have.
Definitely the time calling you to get outside.
Yeah,
you got to get outside.
Got to get outside. So I just want to tell everybody thank you for listening.
Yeah.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. What else we got?
You got the Facebook. You got
the Facebook.
Instagram. You got the YouTube.
You
got the Twitter.
We got iTunes.
And of course, Rodney Rogers Outdoors.
And then we got the Google. So if you don't find us, just Google Rodney Rogers. I'm not a basketball player, so that narrows it down.
Yeah, but please come back next week. We'll be back next week, and I'm going to try talking Rodney into showing us his ballyhoo.
Woohoo! And as my mama said 18 million times, and I hope I get to say it half as much, you kids get outside and stay. What?
You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
That's not the right music.
No. We're going to start the show over.
Okay, from the top.
From the top.
Can we redo an exit?
Yeah, sure we can.
Okay. I want to say the part where I talk about your ballyhoo.
Please do. I love when people talk about the belly.
So if you would, please come back next week. I'm going to try talking Rodney in to give us a little peek at his little tiny ballyhoo.
And as my mom has said 1 million times, and I hope I get to say it half as much, you kids get outside and stay.